Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders Podcast. Join your host, Bryan Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. It's Bryan Eisenberg, and I'm here with Karen Cerezo, who is a fitness coach, but you're more than that. So let's explain what exactly you do.
I do feel like I wear a lot of hats. So thank you for having me here. I love this. I started out as a health coach, which then led me into doing fitness. And then I started realizing that people were good with showing up to their workouts, but what were they doing the other 3 hours that I wasn't seeing them? So I got certified in nutrition. As I started going through my own health journey as I got older and I hit 46, I then really dove into changing my certification as a health coach and focusing on women's health specifically, then became a menopause expert. So that's kind of been my journey, starting with fitness and then trying to really just take it as a holistic approach.
What's interesting is, you're working with women who are older, and a lot of them who obviously also have professional careers. Why do you think they get into this struggle of almost life cascading on them? There's so much happening.
There's a lot that comes with middle age. When we really look at it, whether it's men or women, but obviously my specialty is women, we are launching adult children, but we're also dealing with aging parents. So we're kind of stuck there.
That sandwich generation.
Huge. That's a huge component of stress. If we're still working, we're starting to plan for retirement, or we are in retirement. So there's a lot of trying to figure out what's next. What am I going to do with my time? And I just feel like there's so much that's happening at one time. Plus, you've got a lot of physical changes that are happening, which also affect your mental. It affects your emotional. So there's just a lot that's coming at us at one time. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And one of the ones that I really want to dive into, because it's probably not your core area, but I think it's such a critical part. And, obviously something that for me has made a big difference is being part of the chamber. The social aspect of aging changes. Mel Robbins likes to talk about, it's so much easier to make friends when you're in your teens and your 20s, right?
Yeah.
But as we get older, it's so much harder. What kind of impact is that having on our health?
I think it has a big impact. And obviously we saw that negative impact in COVID when everybody was locked down, and it was great for the first couple of weeks. And then we started realizing we were missing people. And so we started doing these Zoom, game nights or whatever it was, trivia nights, to be able to connect, because we need that connection. So when we are moving through this new phase in life, we're seeing a lot of that. Once our kids are leaving high school or college, we're starting to lose those friends. Our kids, like the sports friends, I made a ton of them. I might only talk to like one or two of them now that my kids don't play sports anymore. If my career is changing and I'm moving in different directions, now I've lost that community. There's changes within our church. There's changes within, just the people that we see daily. And so, but I do think it is a huge impact negatively on our health if we're not tapping into our community. And I would say when people ask me about what sets you apart, especially in the workout space, is I feel I have the best community of women that they're just amazing. There's no judgment there. That's all support. It's not competitive. And I think that makes us be able to thrive as individuals.
What does that community look like? Who are these women? And what kind of women should be looking for a community like yours?
My community with my workout group it's ladies in their 40s and beyond. So I have, some that are 42 and I have some that are 75. So we have a wide range. We have so many life experiences. And I say all the time, I would not meet these ladies in a normal, just everyday run-in. And so I'm so fortunate that this brings us together because it is such an eclectic group. We do have shared interest, but there's so many things that we've all experienced that are so different from one another, which that allows us to learn from each other, which has been amazing. But I think what sets us apart is just the pure kindness of one another. And people join the gym because they need some kind of accountability. They need support. They need, direction. They're not necessarily, especially if you're looking for a personal trainer, they need somebody that is going to guide them. And so I feel like you can go to plenty of workout studios. You can find plenty of trainers out here that are amazing, that are going to give you great workouts, but it's that community that holds us together. So I feel like I don't even have to do half of my job anymore, which is the accountability. Of course I do, but my ladies are always on top of each other as far as, hey, we missed you today, or if somebody has a surgery or an illness, or they're having to deal with an aging parent. They are so quick to check up on each other, bring each other meals, share information, do whatever it is that they need. And it's been amazing to watch these friendships flourish outside of me. I just brought them all together.
That's kind of cool.
Rock Solid is produced and recorded at Round Rock Studio. Located right here in Round Rock, our state-of-the-art studio is built for podcasters and creatives alike. We offer multiple professionally designed podcast sets, top-notch recording gear, and a full photography studio ready for any project. Whether you're launching a new podcast or upgrading your existing one, we can help with multi-camera recording, editing, and everything you need for success. Record with us at Round Rock Studio, your local podcasting partner.
Obviously, I spend a lot of time thinking about aging parents. My wife and I have a home care agency. And, I know, especially for the adult children of these seniors, seeing their parents, start losing their parts of their independence and aging definitely stresses them out. What do you think is also happening to them, mentally, physically, as they're seeing this, and what's going through their mind as they start feeling like, yeah, they're also aging somewhat?
Yeah. Well, obviously, there's a lot of negatives that come with it. There's a lot of fear that come with it. We, last year, and I don't really share. I share a lot about my life. I don't share a lot about my family's life because that's their business. But we had a significant event happen in our life last year. And that was really eye-opening to me and allowed me to have that empathy that for my clients. And I knew they were going through things, and I tried to be sympathetic and all, but now experiencing it myself, I'm like, wow, I get it. Like, I get why this is impacting you. So there's a lot of negatives that come with it. There's that fear. There's that planning. It's not cheap. So there's just so many components. Now, the positive is I have so many people that come to me now, whether they're looking for health coaching or they're looking for the fitness or they're looking for the nutrition side. That is their driving why. I will not do this to my children, or I want a high quality life. I want to be able to spend time with my grandkids. I want to be able to shower by myself. And so I always joke, we're doing these exercises to so that you can get yourself off the toilet, because the last thing you want to do is call your neighbor and be like, hi, can you come over and help me? So I joke about it, but it's real. And so we try to look at it as a positive. And for so many of my clients, that really is their why. And it's their driving force. So when it's 30 degrees outside and it's time to go out and get our workout in, they remember these things. I'm doing this for a reason. And it's not, just to fit into smaller size jeans anymore.
Yeah, that stronger driver is important. I'm just finishing up a new manuscript, and I talk about the stories we tell ourselves, and there's a big difference between saying, yes, I want to do this because I want to look good or I feel healthy, but also looking at that failure part, right? Yeah. What would it look like if I didn't do this? Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't spend the time thinking about that. But when they have that example in their real life, it does. It gives you real empathy for saying, no, this is not the way I want to live.
Well, and it also, it gives us the opportunity to look at how it affects everybody.
Mm-hmm.
When we had our scare last year, it impacted everybody. It impacted us financially because we were having to fly back and forth. It impacted, our time. It impacted our energy. It was one of the scariest things I've ever experienced, is thinking that my family member is not going to be there. And so there was a lot that went into it. But I do feel that makes a huge difference, knowing I don't want to be a burden to my children or my grandchildren. I don't want to be a financial burden. I don't want to be a time burden. I want to be able to, share their life with them and not put all of this on them because of my negative choices.
Now, you've had the community for a while. I'm sure you've got some great success stories that have come out of it. Let's talk about a couple of those.
So I've been coaching for a little over 10 years, and obviously I've had a lot of people that have lost weight, and they've done fantastic. They can tell me I fit into a pair of jeans that have been sitting in my closet forever. I would say over the past couple of years, when I've really tweaked my program to focus on what women over 40 need, there's a lot of difference when we're training in our 20s and our 30s, even our early 40s, that I know when I turned, when I turned 46, my strength was impacted, my endurance was impacted, my running changed. There was a lot. When you're going through these things and you're dealing with hot flashes, you're dealing with brain fog, you're dealing with lack of sleep, you're dealing with joint pain, you're dealing with incontinence, you're not working out like you used to. And so when I've changed the workouts, women have been able to find so much more success beyond that smaller size. We just celebrated a client 2 days ago that her A1C numbers came down.
Awesome.
And her doctor took her off of one of the medications and is working her way getting her off the second medication. And so things like that, where they come back to me and they're like, look at my numbers. That has been amazing. Or they're telling me, you know what, I was never able to lift my luggage over my head on the plane, and now I was carrying my grandson and his, car seat and grabbing a bag of groceries at the same time. I would have never been able to do that. And so those are the things that, when we worked out in our 20s, we're like, I'm just looking hot. Now we're looking for high quality life. And can we live on our own? And can we function on our own? And so looking at those stories has been really fun. So a lot of it has been like just changes in medications or getting off medications, changes in their numbers, decrease of menopause symptoms, decrease of pelvic floor, issues, increasing their confidence, knowing that they can do this, that they're capable of doing these things. So that's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, I may need you to have a conversation with my 19-year-old who still thinks I should work out when we're in the gym together, like
it's
him.
So not the same. Yeah,
I'm
my
like,
son does that to me too.
I'm just trying to make sure I don't get injured during
I know,
this.
exactly. I'm like, y'all, if I get injured, I'm out like for weeks. My son does that. He's 22, and I'm like, I'm not working out like you.
Yeah, it's just not quite there. He'll go like, we'll be in the community center and he'll leg press the full stack like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm good at about 280, 300.
Yeah.
Like after that, when I was 13, I was able to do a full stack.
And our recovery is so much longer. Like I might be able to do it, but I'm not doing it for the next couple of weeks after.
And I have nothing to prove for it.
No. And I think that is such a freeing component getting to this age and beyond is I don't have to prove anything anymore. I'm living for me, and I'm doing what I need to do to bless my body and to feed my mental health and, to make me feel alive. And that's another big thing that we talk about, especially when we look at the health coaching side, is setting those boundaries. How do you want to live the next second half of your life? Is it the same way you did before? Most people say no. Not that we didn't love that, but now it's different.
So how do people find your tribe? Like, what are you doing in order to grow this tribe?
We do a lot, actually. So one of the things I think that has been really fun with owning my own business as a fitness trainer, obviously I get to do whatever I want, which is always fun because I like control. But I want women to know that there's so much that goes into living your best life. And so I love partnering with the community. And we've done We've partnered with meal prepping companies where we've done,
Mm-hmm.
just nutrition talks. I've partnered with Baylor Scott and White. We've talked about heart health. We had a doctor come in and talk to us. We are partnering with some other people in the community to talk about pelvic floor health. We went to a boutique in Hutto that, specializes in bras, and we were fitted for bras. And so I just want women to know that there's so many resources right here in your community that are going to help you feel your best. We've gone to wellness centers and we've looked at different things, different ways to stay healthy and injury free. And so that's one of the things that I think has been amazing, because while I can tell you things that are in my wheelhouse,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert in everything. And so being able to pull in those experts and letting them know that this resource is there, whether you need it or not, you have that resource. And so that's been, I think, a big, I don't want to say selling point, but that's been something that women really enjoy. But I also think just being able to come out and know that whether this is your first workout in 10 years or, you've been working out at home, but now you just kind of want to get out of the house. It's such a competitive free environment, but it's a motivational environment. There's a big difference between motivating or being motivated by somebody that's lifting heavier, moving faster, can go further, do more reps, versus feeling like I can't compete with that. And I think we really do a good job at saying, you don't have to compete, but I'm here just to motivate you to just do your best.
Someone the other day was telling me that, compared to Austin, the Round Rock area isn't as fit conscious. Are there the resources around for these women in this community?
Yes, there are a ton of resources with regard to businesses that focus on wellness and focus on different ways to help you, whether it's balance or flexibility or, strength training, having the right equipment. I think what we're lacking, because I do agree with what they're having to say, what we're lacking is food, healthy food. But I also think that people are looked at as doing, when you choose to eat healthy, people are like, oh, why are you dieting? Versus why are you, eating this hamburger meal or whatever that's high calories? We just have such a skewed view of what's healthy and how people should be spending their time. I don't think we've caught up yet to maybe some of the other areas that are a little bit more health conscious.
That's an interesting perspective on it. I mean, I think most of the country doesn't eat healthy to begin with, right? And then obviously when you compare it to, certain big cities and stuff like that,
because there's times when I go into like Cedar Park and Leander and I'm like, wait a minute, why don't we have healthy options like this? Like we have the same 5 restaurants or the same type of food establishments. There's not a lot of options. But as far as like what's in Round Rock with the other companies, there's so many amazing companies that are designed to help boost your wellness journey. So we are doing really well there.
Okay, so if you're an entrepreneur thinking about getting into the health space in the area, what's some advice you have for them?
If you are a dietitian, I would love to see more dietitians out here to help people make the food choices. I wish we had some healthier option restaurants. And now that being said, I could probably sit down with somebody and they'd be like, listen, I'm going to show you the places. So I probably need to connect with somebody that knows a little bit more about that. And they're like, here's, 30 options that I probably don't even know about. I think with Round Rock, a lot of it is working within the community and just kind of, reaching out and being part of the community, because I've learned so much. There was so many things I didn't know that we had. There was so many ways to stay healthy that I didn't even think about that would be useful to my clients, because we're not experiencing it ourselves. Sometimes we're like, oh, well, who needs that?
Mm-hmm.
But talking to more people, I'm like, oh, well, she needs that. That's something she needs that maybe I'll need in a couple years, but I don't need it yet. but it's nice to know that it exists. So I would say just the collaborations within the community have been really great.
What is maybe one of the hidden gems a lot of people don't know about in the area that you wish more people knew about?
Okay, I'll answer it this way. I think the thing that I wish more people maybe not necessarily knew about, but took advantage of is all of the parks and the trails we have. I love being outside, obviously, because our workout group is an outdoor workout group. And so, yes, we're out there in the winter and the summer, but being outside is so good for your mental health and your physical health. But I am so shocked at how much we are outside and there's not a lot of people out there with us. And I think that was one of the really cool things of COVID is seeing people out on their bikes and walking. You don't see that anymore. Like lasted for a little bit and then everybody was done. But just all of the trails that we have and all of the work that Round Rock is doing to connect those trails and add more area to our walking capabilities, it is phenomenal. And so that's where I would tell people, get out and explore. It is beautiful here.
Yeah, I every so often will have one of my friends who also loves to walk like I do, and we'll go and we'll spend an hour just random park here, random park there, and just get lost. And we found some very interesting pieces getting lost in different areas, like this interesting cemetery that we ran across when we were up in Georgetown. But
oh yeah, there's a lot out there. But I would say, you know what, I love brunch. I love having brunch with my girlfriends, but I love also just having walking chats.
Yeah.
Where we just meet up somewhere and we just go for a walk. Number one, it goes so much faster and it's so much more fun when you have somebody. But that's the great way to be able to explore the area around you. So we're almost at spring, which means it's the perfect time to get out and do that.
Yeah, we have a few cool days. And as I always say, Austin area has 3 seasons. It's hot, hotter, and weird.
Yes.
We're definitely at the tail end of weird. It looks like right now.
I know,
when
we're
we're filming.
close. Yes.
It's Valentine's Day today, so when this airs, but we'll probably be in the hot part when this actually airs. Any final tips for all entrepreneurs, whether they're 72 years old or 21? And if they want to be successful in this area, kind of the way you've been planning your success, what would you share with them?
I think one is be willing to learn. There's so much that I'm constantly learning, especially as things change. But I also think that there's a space for you. And when I initially, started as a fitness trainer, I was working for another company and I was like, I'm fine with this. But then I realized that while we were doing an amazing job for a select few, we were leaving out that other group, which was the women over 40 that didn't want that high intensity anymore or wanted a little bit of it, but not all the time. And so I would say find that need and fill it, because there are people that are looking for you. And get out and meet people. I mean, there's not a lot of people that know that there's a menopause expert in their community. And so getting out and letting people know this exists. And like I said, that's one of the reasons I love doing the community collaborations for my clients, is because they didn't even know it existed. So that would be another thing, is just getting out and letting people know that you're here and you're here to service.
And if someone was looking for a menopause expert, maybe by the name Karen, how would they find you?
So a couple ways. You can find me on Instagram at Midlife Health Coach. I do have a website, which is midlifehealthcoach.com. I also have a book called Navigating Menopause. It is a health journal. So one of the issues that I see a lot of women going through perimenopause, menopause, and even postmenopause is they're not getting the medical care that they deserve. Which is like a whole nother Pandora's box we could start. But I created a health journal to help women kind of track what it is they're experiencing. Because when we go in with data and say, here, I need your help. I don't need a Band-Aid. I don't need to be dismissed. I don't need to be ignored. There's not a lot they can say at that point. And so you can find that on Amazon. It's called Navigating Menopause, and it's a health journal.
And you've even created resources for the husbands to understand as well.
I
know what's
have,
in it.
yeah. There's I've got some blogs out there to help the husbands know a little bit more about what's going on with menopause. The book is also helpful because it really does explain a lot that a lot of us didn't know going into this because nobody talks about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.